Greetings, this is Arthur Garmazzi, author of the #1 new release on Amazon, Game On, Reinventing Organizational Culture with Gamification, best-selling author, and also ranked currently as the #4 thought leader in organizational culture in the world. And we're going to be talking today in video number 2 about how to create a personal sense of value for everyone with work gamification. Okay, so in the last video we went through the fact that basically a personal sense of value is one of the key factors, or the primary factor, that affects engagement and motivation. And we also talked about why the sense of recognition, or just recognizing people and acknowledging them and stuff like that, is not the only thing that gives people a personal sense of value. And so today we're going to be going through the Gamification Perception Index. So the key to successful gamification is balance. See, if things are too hard and people don't seem to be winning at all in the game, or creating some kind of win state in the game, well, basically they give up, right? I mean, it's kind of like, when you start a new project and it's like, oh my gosh, this is too hard. And you just kind of like, I'll work on it later. And you start working on other things, okay? Kind of like when I started playing the violin, okay? I kind of suck at playing the violin, and kind of sucked when I first started learning. But see, the thing is that the moment that I got to play my first song, I was remotivated. Why? Because I had win state. I managed to achieve one thing, even though it wasn't a great thing. It was a simple song, but I got to that point. And it was an easy enough song that it was able to get me engaged for further, more complicated things, all right? So here's the thing. When we are creating any kind of gamification system, you gotta consider the different stages that people are going to go through. Now, you notice that if you just have the leaderboards and stuff like that, there are going to be some people that are always at the top and other people that never even make it to the board, and those kind of gamification processes suck. Why? Because then you're just going to be demotivating everybody else that's not on that thing. These other people may be motivated, but at the end of the day, you probably have more people than your top 20, right? So you want to make sure that you create gamification systems that get everybody involved. And this is where most organizations fail. And we're going to be going into these through the other videos that we're going to be talking about too. But right now we're just going to be looking at the basics, all right? So you start with people that have low confidence. So how do you get these people to essentially grow through their competencies, and for that matter, even the engagement? Well, you get them to win. Now, there's little wins here and there, and it doesn't have to be a big win. It just has to be little wins. And you can create game structures that support little wins at different levels, or even for different components. Now, here's the problem. See, one of the biggest problems that most people face is they gamify things like results or KPIs. And these are all really important, but here's the problem. They take too long. And when they take too long, well, that means that people just kind of like, oh my gosh, by the time they get to the 3 months it takes to actually make their KPIs, well, by that time they're already like, okay, and that's not good. So what you want to do is you want to be able to get people to win on a daily, even or maximum weekly basis. And how do you do that? By reverse engineering your KPIs, your objectives, into behaviors. Right, okay, think about it. Okay, if you have a specific objective, a specific goal, okay, there are going to be certain behaviors that if people do them, they will achieve those goals, right? And now it's not just going to be one behavior, there could probably be a couple. So by identifying the reverse engineered behaviors, you're able to connect this to a gamified process which helps you to consistently give feedback, which people can then adjust on a regular basis. And it allows you to create quick wins so that people will be able to say, wow, I am on the right track. And if I'm on the right track, that means I can achieve different levels of win state. Okay, so now that helps them through the growth phase. In order to get them to stay motivated, of course, you have to be able to consistently give them new challenges. And this is important because once you kind of get to a certain level, well, I'm there, right? And then what? I mean, that's kind of the whole point, right? So here's the thing. So you've probably heard of this thing called dopamine. All right, see, dopamine is supposed to be the happy drug. It's like, whoa, I've got my whole dopamine, man. Like, I'm like super happy. Well, no, it's not that. Did you realize that? Well, first of all, there's 5 types of dopamine, but irrelevant right now. Okay, the main thing is that dopamine is not a happy drug. It's the anticipation of happiness drug. It's like, what will I get? It's the thing that you get when you chase something. You ever notice how maybe when you were younger, or maybe you're still young, okay, and you were chasing girls or guys, or, there was that one girl or that one guy, and, and just getting them interested was just consuming so much of your emotion and time, just getting them interested in you. And eventually, when you actually got them, well, maybe after that, it wasn't that exciting. Have you ever experienced that? Or maybe, you get this job that you've been chasing and like, wow, you finally get the job and you're excited about the job. And then like a month later, it's not that exciting anymore. Why? Because you've already got it. So see, it is the anticipation of the achievement more than it is the actual achievement itself. Okay? So what we want to do is we want to create consistent levels of anticipation to consistently give people dopamine. So that means you got to change it up a bit. So let's look at achievement psychology. All right. So first of all, okay, it starts with the anticipation of an achievement. Now that achievement can be anything. It can be achieving something small, but it's the anticipation of getting to that point. Then it's about the reinforcing the competence. Wow, that's really awesome. Now remember, it's not just about recognition. It's also about making sure that the achievement shows some kind of a visible result. Okay? So people get satisfaction not only from other people telling them they did a good job, but also from seeing various elements of how that job is affecting others, right? So when you see that your work actually helps somebody else and other people are doing better because of you, or when you see that your job compared to somebody else's job is better, all of these little things are affecting your personal sense of value, right? So now you're reinforcing the competence by reinforcing various emotional gratifications connected to these achievements. Now, of course, the next thing, of course, is validation. And validation now goes into how awesome you are and how much more awesome you can be. Okay? And so now that goes into the element of completion. And completion deals with, okay, a sense of actual achievement. Wow, I have done this. So now, where's the next level? And you go on to the next level. You know how these games that people play online, okay, they get people motivated because they are constantly getting to the next level and the next level and the next level. And some of these levels are really hard, but once you start going, once you start to win, then it becomes addictive. See, that win state is an addictive process because, oh, I won here, now I can win here, now I can win here. But see, the moment that you start feeling like, oh, what's the point? My boss will never listen to me. What's the point? Okay, anytime I try something, it's nobody listens to me. Okay, when people start to get into this kind of a thing, or if I try something, it might go wrong and I might get blamed. Well, you're creating environments or cultures that are not supporting win state. And when you're not supporting win state, you're basically creating a barrier to innovation, a barrier to engagement. You're creating more anxiety because people don't get that personal sense of value. And right now, especially during the pandemic, people need to feel that sense of value. So if you want to get your people more engaged, more cooperative, well, you have to help them to see how their work progresses. You have to measure, you have to give feedback, and you have to show what meaning their work has to not just them, but to the organization overall. There are 3 different types of measurement that are going to be very important in any work gamification strategy. So first, you got to measure individuals. Then you measure the teams. And then you also measure the organization. See, everybody's part of the bigger picture. Everybody's part of the organization. So when they can see that their contribution affects the overall organization and is also affecting the team, not just the individual, well, that creates a holistic engagement, motivation process where people are seeing that their contributions, that their value is being created and supporting the value of not just themselves, not just how great they are, but the value of their team and the value of the organization, that one person actually is having a bigger effect that is affecting the entire group. Okay? And that's really important because remember, okay, the more valuable we feel, the more engaged, the more competencies we feel we can achieve, and basically it keeps on getting better, and people will not just be engaged to do their work, but they will be engaged to achieve bigger organizational objectives. Why? Because they're part of that organization. They're part of the feedback that comes back to the value that they are showing to that organization. So remember, you can get the Amazon #1 new release, Game On Amazon. And of course, if you want to play a game with us where we can help your team to gamify your work processes, well, let us know, because we have the Performancia gamification game where our certified gamification trainers will be able to help you. And of course, if you want to get certified gamification trainers in your organization, let us know. We can help you there too. So in the next video, we're going to be talking a little bit more about how to do these kinds of measurements and feedback so that you can create this value. And of course, remember that if you need to have any organizational culture improvement in your organization, you can always call us and we are going to set you up and we're going to show you visible results. In fact, we actually guarantee it. Okay, so give us a call at support@directivecommunication.com. This is Arthur Carmazzi wishing you awesome and great success.